today we are going to be reviewing a film, or let's just say I am now into this guy, or this director's film world, when like Quentin Tarantino. That was like, he was my all-time favorite.
Really?
Now, well, because he's more creative than most of Hollywood.
He's a good storyteller.
Now Guy Ritchie would be the... Today we're going to be reviewing Gentleman. Now, I do remember, since I work at a theater, I do remember when this film was out. It was before the pandemic.
Right, it was supposed to be in 2019. I didn't, I remember seeing the trailer. I did a reaction to the trailer for my channel, and I thought it was supposed to come out last year. But you say it came out in 2019?
2020. It was early 2020. It was dated
2019.
Before,
it was supposed to come
maybe it did, but I thought it was in January 2020.
It wasn't in the theater very long, was it?
Not that long. I remember when it was on, but yeah, we recently saw it, and I gotta say,
that's your dad. He stopped that.
Okay. Anyways, as I was saying, but I actually regret not seeing this in movie theaters, to be honest. So
yeah,
let's get to it, shall we? The story is basically, well, if you know Guy Ritchie, he usually has multiple characters.
Intricate story.
Here, point A, point B, point C, point D, and yeah, Matthew McConaughey's character. He's you could say he's a drug dealer, but not the kind that...
He's a pot dealer. He's not into hard drugs.
Yeah, like he's not the type that will give drugs to people that could kill.
Yeah, not like heroin or crack cocaine. It's marijuana.
Yeah. But he's trying to get out of the business.
We're gonna getting ready to have an interruption here.
But, It's the clones.
That's okay. You gotta. That's right. I was gonna say you do have a Latin clone.
Yeah.
So it's
clone number 4.
He's out there talking on the phone.
Yeah, in Spanish that I don't understand.
No, he's speaking in English, Arturo.
No. I'm pretending it's clone number 4. He only speaks Espanol.
Okay, here we go. Hold on. We gotta wait a second.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
We're talking about he was getting out of the business.
Yeah, he was getting out of the business.
He had been violent, because this plays into a lot of the story. He had a violent past.
Oh yeah, he had a violent past. But then he kind of started to,
got his way up to the top to establish his empire in the UK, because he's American. And now he wants to get out of the business. Kind of just want to enjoy life. With his wife, who he adores.
Yeah, beautiful, sassy wife. I mean, she is pretty.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
On the other hand, you have these other key characters that play a role. I mean, you have his henchman, for one thing. The very nice... looking guy.
He's got his OCD. He was so good. I loved his character. Played by Charlie Hunnam. He did an excellent job in this movie.
I think, was he in that...
King Arthur.
Or Robin Hood, I thought? Or was that the one that wasn't good? Because I thought he was on Toonami for a little bit. He kind of did the promo.
I thought he was talking about for King Arthur.
Maybe that's what it was.
I thought it was for King Arthur.
Yeah, he was on Toonami.
Yeah, I remember.
He was talking to Tom.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, see a space cowboy. That's like a term in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
But anyways, so his henchman kind of does like the work for him. But and he's also, but the interesting part about his henchman is that he tries not to use violence that much. He tries to be reasonable.
Neither one of them are really into violence.
Unless worse,
unless they're pushed to that point.
Yeah, unless worse comes to shove. Then you have the fighter guy, the one that teaches people how to fight, and his
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, his group kind of go around.
Caught up in things.
Yeah, and then there's the Jewish guy, the glasses. Is he Jewish?
You're mixing this up with Snatch.
No. I thought the guy was Jewish.
You talking about the guy who was blackmailing them?
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe
I don't remember anything mentioned about him being.
Okay,
Jewish.
Maybe he isn't Jewish. I don't know.
If they did, it was in passing, and honestly, that had nothing really to do with the story. That's why I think maybe you're confusing it with Snatch, because they did focus on that.
Okay, then there's this guy with what's his name, the actor, the guy that's blackmailing him.
Hugh Grant.
Yeah, Hugh Grant's character. He's blackmailing Matthew McConaughey's character for a cheaper price, I think. To me, I'm a little confused of how
you're talking about the guy who was trying to buy the business from him.
Yeah.
But Hugh Jackman was trying to blackmail Matthew McConaughey's character so that he wouldn't take this story to the press. There were all these big characters involved. There was a guy who was an editor at a tabloid or some sort of newspaper.
He wanted to publish it.
He wanted to publish some
There's
sort of...
There's a guy that also worked with him, the very interesting fella who chatted with Matthew McConaughey's character as henchman. In that whole, in his house. Sort of deal. That's the guy who was trying to blackmail. Yeah, there's that reporter. He almost knows too much of everything going on. And
he knows a lot.
And then you have the Asian guy who he was in Crazy Rich
Asians. One of them is called oh geez, I'm starting to
there's a lot of characters.
They have all these nicknames.
Yeah. With his movies, it's hard to remember most of their names. All I can say is that all these characters play a role in a big way. Yeah, obviously the Asian guy, he's probably the worst of the bunch.
Yeah, he's just a plain up, just a straight up thug is what he is.
I mean, he
wants to take control.
If you just see that one clip of him going crazy with the machine gun, he's pretty crazy. But I thought there was something else too. Another character. Maybe not.
I can't.
Okay, maybe there wasn't. But anyway, so yeah, let's just say the plot. To me, it was a little confusing at first, but then as it kept progressing, you were able to follow. Yeah, I was able to follow what was going on.
See, that's the thing with Guy Ritchie. You have to pay attention to what is happening, and something that I noticed when I was watching The Gentleman. I didn't notice it so much when I was watching Wrath of Man a few days before. I've seen 3 Guy Ritchie movies in less than a week. But when I was watching The Gentleman, I noticed, and I noticed this also when we saw Snatch, which we're going to review next, I noticed that they were constantly saying each other's names.
Yeah. And that was on purpose.
Matthew, Mickey, Tommy, whatever, And so I just know, it was like almost every sentence they were saying the person's name that they were talking to. And it really started to, I was thinking to myself, why is he doing that? Because people don't generally talk that way. My brother wondered if this was an English thing, if people in the UK talk this way. But the thing is, I've seen a lot of UK films and TV shows, and I've never seen that being done. They talk pretty much the same way as we do here. I mean, they have different idioms, but they don't say da-da-da-da, John, da-da-da-da, John, da-da-da-da, John. They don't do that. So I started to wonder when we were seeing Snatch and they were doing that in Snatch, I wondered if it was a Guy Ritchie thing and that the reason he did it is to help you remember who the heck the characters are, because there's so many characters in these movies. I feel like
Gentleman had that too. I think they mentioned all these people.
That's when I noticed it, yeah.
But yeah, plot-wise, I don't want to go into much detail because I feel like you would enjoy it more if you just watch it. Now, film-wise, editing-wise, I thought it was editing well. The editing was well.
So creative.
Yeah, creative.
And the storytelling, he does this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then finally the flashback stuff catches up to the present, and then the rest of the story unfolds, and it's just so well written and so well acted, and the music is perfect.
Oh yeah,
the timing of everything is perfect. The humor, even in some of the, it's a serious story. It's not a comedy. But there's
comedy kind of in or humor
interwoven in places that where you wouldn't think it's funny. Even deaths are funny in a Guy Ritchie movie.
Weird way,
in a really weird way.
Yeah, the editing, didn't look bad at all. I thought it was put together unlike Dunkirk.
I was not a fan of what Chris Nolan did with that, and I'm still mad about it. Let's not get on to Dunkirk.
The film quality, it's just a late 2010s film.
Yeah, they probably filmed it in late 2018 or early 2019. It was dated 2019.
Okay, so. Well, but good quality. What else is there to say? Just modern film look. Not much. I'll just say editing was well done. As for our enjoyment, I actually had fun watching it. I liked the interaction between Matthew McConaughey's henchman and that
and reporter, the reporter guy, or the guy who was blackmailing them. What did he keep calling him? Raymond. Oh, then he kept calling him Darling.
Darling, yeah, Darling. And then there was one point where he was doing something in the room, and Matthew McConaughey's henchman, he was kind of like that, like
when he was going after him.
their whole like chemistry was funny.
Hugh Grant was really good in here. I mean, he was so shifty-eyed, and his facial expressions and the way he would inflect his voice. He was just, I mean, he's good in most everything I've seen him in.
You mean the reporter?
Well, he wasn't a reporter. He was kind of, sort of, he was like about blackmailing. He was going to take a story. Maybe he was a reporter. I mean, he worked for the editor or whatever.
He was doing like different things. Eyeballing this, eyeballing that, eyeballing this. He's just the kind of that thing.
Shifty-eyed, little, just scheming. Yeah, he's working, thinking in his best interest. But yeah, this is something that I noticed when I was watching this movie, and I noticed it as well when I was watching Snatch. And when I say notice, well, let me think. Not really notice. What I was getting ready to say is I have repeatedly mentioned that I am not a fan of movies about mobsters and drug people. That is just not a genre I'm into. I don't like The Godfather. I don't like Shawshank Redemption. I don't like stories about
unless someone is mixed in with it by accident or they are trying to get out of it.
Right, but the interesting thing about Guy Ritchie's stories is almost all of his characters in his stories are those types of people. But Matthew McConaughey was a drug dealer.
Yeah, but he wasn't bad of a, like, maybe an anti-hero.
Right, he's kind of like an anti-hero-ish. But the interesting thing is that Guy Ritchie is able to write these stories in a way that I actually kind of root for them. I pull for them.
Well, yeah, I think...
And I want to watch these stories because the way it's written, it's not your typical... It's just not your typical crime type story that I'm not generally into. But he's got such an interesting twist on the way he writes his characters that I am drawn to that, which is really, that occurred to me. I'm like, this is really weird that I'm into this movie that's about people that I don't really like to watch movies about.
Yeah.
Mobsters, drug people, and yet I was super into it. He's just an excellent
storyteller. Yeah, because I think he knows how to take a genre that maybe most people don't care about, kind of like string it around a bit. And then what do you get?
Things are really strung around too, and things that you don't think are going to mean anything, or you don't know what they mean at one point in time. Later in the movie, it all becomes clear. It was just, I really am.
It's a roll in a circle.
I'm really a fan of his work. Honestly.
I do think we should just go ahead and do Snatch because we're mentioning Snatch. Well, but anyways, let's continue on with Gentlemen. So yeah, basically, Gentlemen. It's a thrilling ride that I can say. I feel like I don't want to say too much. I liked all aspects of this film.
Yeah.
The humor, characters,
the dialogue.
The dialogue is funny.
The editing, the way the story unfolds
at the very end. And if you may not be into drug stuff, because I don't think not all people are into that type of it. Well,
I'm certainly not. But I love this movie.
Even though a lot of people like Godfather. That's about a mafia.
Godfather. Don't like that movie.
Well, if you don't like that type of movie, there's always Gentlemen. Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. But just be sure to pay attention because it is. And you know what?
Sometimes
you might need subtitles on.
Yeah,
especially for Snatch.
Yeah, his movies are kind of more detailed. Like you gotta have a very focused mind on his films.
It's not cliche stuff. It's not a lot of cliche going on in his films. Like you really, honestly, cannot always accurately predict where things are going to go with a Guy Ritchie movie.
No.
So he keeps you on your toes for sure.
Well, the thing with he shows what happens near the end at the very beginning, but you don't know what happened
in The Gentleman. Yeah, that's right. Right.
But even in Snatch too, same thing.
Yeah.
Except, well, I don't want to say.
Well, Wrath of Man is similar to Snatch in that there's back and forth going on. There's flashback and then present and then flashback and then present. I mentioned that in my review. He does that. He does that a little bit in Snatch, but not to as much of an extent, I think, as he did in The Gentleman.
Yeah, Gentleman, it was back and forth because we're hearing it from the sinister report.
Hugh Grant's character. So, okay, well, I guess we can maybe wrap this one up.
Well, yeah, but overall, okay, yeah. So, The Gentleman, I would say is a very interesting, and I mean a very interesting film that you will laugh, and I don't think you would really cry because it's more funny than anything.
Yeah, his films are not more kind of a little suspenseful and humorous, not so much emotional.
So my rating will be a very spectacular, interesting, jolly good old time.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to throw a number out, but I guess you're done with numbers now.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you?
Well, I don't really want to give it. I'm not.
Give it a word. Just give it a word.
It's excellent. Go watch it. Well, it's not in theaters anymore, but watch this movie. If you're a Guy Ritchie fan, I think you're going to enjoy this film. If you're not a Guy Ritchie fan, you still might enjoy this film. You just need to pay attention. Don't be looking on your phone. Don't be looking on your computer. You really do need to focus on what is happening. If you are not a fan of crime type stuff, like stories that involve protagonists that are mobsters or gangsters or drug people, give this movie a go. You still might find that you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And whether or not you need subtitles.
You'll definitely need subtitles for Snatch.
Well, Snatch. Okay, Gentleman was probably more easier to follow.
I think it was. I think, yeah. As far as the dialect, the way they sound, yeah, I didn't really have any trouble understanding.
Yeah, it was a funny film.
Yeah.
Funny film.
I'm so glad we watched
in a crazy way. Yeah, I regret. I wish I should have seen it in a movie theater.
Yeah, I was interested in it, but it wasn't anything I thought I would want to see on the big screen. I think it's easy to appreciate it on the small screen, but it would have been nice to have seen it.
Anyways, yeah, you can follow my mom. She also did Wrath of Man, another Guy Ritchie film.
Yeah, that one's out now.
She also laughs, cries, a little bit of both in the middle. Because
try not to cry too much. That's pretty rare. Okay.
And yeah, you could check more of my film reviews here at Artoelia. I also have 2 of her videos that she allowed me to put up.
Which one was that?
Invisible Man and Gaming something, like guy with Harry Potter. Those were the only 2. I don't think I'll take Snatch any more of her.
You can if you want. I don't care.
Any more of her video
I give
content.
You permission.
Well, she does, but I gotta be original myself too, you know. Anyway.